I've spent £50,000 on self-development. Has it been worth it? So in the last 3 years, since the start of 2020, I've invested a lot into myself. Personal development, business development. A lot of the time, people ask me, is it worth it? Why do you keep investing this money in yourself? In this video today, I want to explore my belief on why this has been the best thing I could have ever done for my life. Spoiler alert, the answer is yes. I want to dive deep into why it has been so worth it for me. Hello and welcome to In the Moment with me, Alex Manzi. I'm a coach and this podcast is all about self-development and helping you to live a happier, more fulfilling life. So I've spent £50,000, which is about $65,000 on self-development in the last 3 years. Has it been worth it? And the simple answer is yes. And there's many reasons why it's a strong yes from me. The main thing really is that the money that I've invested in myself, while yes, it's been a lot of money, it's completely transformed my life. Now, I want to take you through some of the things that I've learned and also some of the things that have helped me get the most out of those investments so that you can take those learnings on for yourself. And if you ever go on to invest in yourself, you know exactly how you can get the most out of it. Some of the stuff that I've invested in the last 3 years, just to give you an idea, is group coaching programs. I've hired a personal coach, one-on-one coaching. I've been to retreats, I've been to events, workshops. I went to a big coaching event in India earlier this year. That's some of the stuff that I've hired mentors that I've invested this money into. It hasn't it's been straight into one place. It's been divided across the base. A big portion of that, I will say, has been invested in hiring my personal coach on a one-to-one basis, but then the rest of it has been divided amongst these other smaller investments into retreats and workshops and stuff like that. The reason that I've kind of supplemented the work that I do with my one-to-one coach is because it allows me to literally do that, supplement the work we're doing. If I feel like our work is solely becoming focused on business, I'll supplement it with some work that's more focused on me, and vice versa. If there's a lot of personal work that I'm doing with my coach, I'll supplement it with something that's going to help me with my business. So the first thing you're probably thinking is, why on earth would you spend that much money investing in yourself? Why? So the simple answer is this: if I'm going to invest in anything, it's going to be me. Whether it's my health, my mindset, my mental health, my business, I'm going to put those chips in my corner because I know that can be quite extreme at times, and I know that I'm going to show up in a way that I'm going to get the most out of those investments. Yes, it's scary. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's been easy decisions all of the time. It's been very scary and it's felt like a huge leap of faith. But actually, what I'm paying for when I invest in myself is I'm not paying for the coach. I'm not paying for the coaching. I'm paying for my dream reality to become my actual reality. And that's the key. If you said to me 3 years ago, before I made any investment in myself at the start of 2020, hey Alex, if you invested 50 grand in yourself right now and you had 50 grand that you could just hand over, I can guarantee you that you'll be living the exact life that you'd want to be living in 3 years' time. 100% guarantee. You'd be in great condition health-wise. You'd be in a great place mentally, emotionally. Your business would be exactly where you want it to be. You'll have a thriving one-to-one practice. You'll be running retreats, workshops. You'll be in an amazing relationship. You'll be living, back in this place, this flat that I live in. I'd have a great relationship with my family. I'd be able to go on nice holidays. I'd be traveling to events across the world in India. I'd have been if I had the money, I would chuck that on the table for that absolute guarantee. And it's easy to say it retrospectively, of course, but that's essentially what I've invested in. I've invested in my future. I've invested in the future and the life that I want to live. I've invested in bringing my dreams into reality. And obviously with the work of coaches and mentors and programs and groups that I've been in, it's helped me to develop that. And there's been so many small things that I've seen, which I'm going to share some of those with you on this journey, that have been so helpful for me. Honestly, I will never not have a coach moving forward in my life because I've seen how helpful it's been for me. I've seen how much it's helped me across so many different areas of my life. I'm never not going to have a coach now. So the first thing that has been really helpful for me on this journey is actually identifying goals. So it's the first thing you do when you hire a coach, or if I invest in a program, right, and I don't necessarily have a deeper conversation with the coach, if I go on a retreat, for an example, the first thing I want to identify is like, what do I want to get from this? Like, what's the outcome that I want from this? And then once I identify what that outcome is, I can then start to look at, well, where am I currently at now? And it gives me a clear indication of like, hey, this is where I currently am. This is the outcome that I want to get to. And then the thing that kind of bridges the two, there's like a meeting point, sort of like, that comes down from here, across from there. And there's a meeting point of the two, which is like, who do I need to become in order to create the outcome that I want? And it's similar to like, you know, when you order, say, an Uber, right? The first thing an Uber asks you, where do you want to go? Where are we dropping you off? And then once they know where they're dropping you off, they need to know where they're picking you up from, right? And if they don't have those two bits of information, they're not going to be able to get you from A to B. And it's the same with coaching. One thing I've noticed is like getting very clear on what my goals are. What is the life that I want to live? How do I want my business to look? How do I want my relationship to look? Where do I want to be living? You know, how do I want my health to look? Once you get a good idea of that and you see, okay, this is where I'm currently at. My relationship is all right. My business isn't where I want it to be. I'm not where I want to live. You know, my health could be better. Now you can start to see, okay, what's the traits of me in my being? You know, do I have a lack of discipline? Do I have a lack of presence? Do I have a lack of focus? What are those traits that are lacking that will become a core part of my being when I'm living my dream life? And that's the stuff that you can start living into. You can start living into, who do I need to become? Who will I need to be to have the business at this point, to have my relationships here, to have a great relationship with my family, to be at peace with myself? Who do I need to be doing good in my community? Who do I need to be to, you know, live a life that is just abundant? Who do I need to be in the best physical shape of my life? All of these questions start coming out and the answers start becoming obvious. And then it gives you something to live into. And then really and truly, that's the work that you do. That's the work that I've done with my coaches. That's the work that I've done over these 3 years, is on who I'm being in the world. And the more I work on that, the more my being expands, the more the outcomes become the byproduct of the growth that I'm experiencing internally. So a part of this, right, and this is one of my favorite exercises in the world. Like, I take a lot of my clients through this, and I even sometimes just sit down and go through it for myself, is looking at two things. Where are you spectating in your life, and where are you participating in your life? So spectating is, imagine if you're at a football match, right? You guys know I love football, right? So I'm at a football match, I'm watching the game, my team loses the ball, and I'm all like, oh yeah, like he's lost the ball, like, oh my God, like, why is he giving it away? And I'm angry and I'm annoyed and I'm sort of jeering, and there's nothing I can do, right? I'm a spectator of the game. So if I was now a participant, if I was a player, it would be different. If I was the one who'd lost the ball, I wouldn't be standing there throwing my arms up in the air. I'd be like, wow, I can do something about this. And I'd probably chase back, try and win the ball, or I'd get into another position while my teammate went and tried to get the ball back. And I can actively participate in doing something about the event that's unfolded. Now, when we take this into life, right, the exercise that I like to do with people and with clients, and that I've done with my coaches, is have a column that says spectating, a column that says participating, and a column that says, what would I like it to be? What would I like it to look like? And then there's different areas of your life that you can look at. You can look at finance, you can look at health, you can look at business, dreams, relationships. And you can look at, okay, in my life, in my relationships, am I participating or am I spectating? Spectating looks like, to me, when I did this, it looked like, yeah, my relationships are okay. They're fine as they are. I can happily let them just roll on as they are. That's very spectatory. It's very much, I'm just watching them happen. Now, participating in the relationships is very different, because participating is, I want to take part in making these relationships as good as I can. So who do I need to be to fully participate in my relationships? So something that me and my girlfriend have started doing, and it sounds simple, but we weren't doing it before, is date night. First Friday of every month is date night. Even when we go on holiday, like we've been on a couple holidays recently with my family, we take time out of the holiday to go and have an experience by ourselves, a day, or we go for a walk, or we'll make sure we spend some time just for us. That's participating in the relationship. Spectating is like, oh yeah, like we'll just carry on, and we'll go on a date when we feel like it, and we'll go on holidays, and we won't really spend much time together. We'll spend all our time with everyone else. It's a very different thing. Now you can look at all of the different areas of your life and look at it. Where am I spectating and where am I participating? And the areas in which you're spectating, or even the areas where you're participating, in that final column, you can start to look at, what do I want it to look like? If I'm spectating in my relationship, what do I want it to look like? Do I want to stay a spectator? Do I want to be passive in my relationships? Or do I want to be a participant? Do I want to be a leader? Do I want to be on the front foot? Do I want to be involved in those relationships? I want to be involved. So what's it going to look like? And I write it down. And once you go through this process, it gives you a really clear idea of like where you're currently at in your life and how things can be different. And like I was saying earlier, how you can be different in your life. It gives you something to really focus on. And if you've got someone in your corner who's helping you to create that, who's helping you to live into that, it's invaluable. There isn't really any money in the world that was worth more than that to me, because that is the foundation of my life. The quality of my life day to day, the quality of my relationships, the quality of my love with myself, the quality of the compassion I have for myself, the quality of my health. They're the most important things to me, and everything else becomes a byproduct. So if I've got someone in my corner who's helping me to work specifically on those things, it's invaluable. So the next thing that spending over 50 grand on self-development has helped me with is my level of commitment to anything that I'm doing. I used to think I had a high level of commitment to stuff, and what I found out is that it actually wasn't that high at all. So, as I've invested more in myself, my level of commitment goes up. And every time I invest in myself again, my level of commitment goes up again. So for example, when I first started working with a coach, it was in a group program. It was like a £1,500 fee to be part of the group. And it took my commitment to my business from like nearly at 0 to, let's say, 10 out of 100, right? I saw some growth in my business. I got, nearly 10x my investment in the time I was in the group. And then I invested to work with my coach one-to-one, which was a lot more money. It was like more than 10 times the 1,500 that I invested originally in the group. And my commitment went through the roof. It went from like a 10 to like a 70. And then it was like, right, now I'm playing at a different level. And the same thing happens. Like the more my commitment goes up in one area of my life, the more it goes up in a second area of my life. So as my commitment's gone up with my dedication to my business, my commitment's gone up to my dedication to my health. My commitment's gone up to my dedication to my relationship. The more that my commitment keeps nudging itself up and up and up, the more that I start to see the results of that in different areas of my life, because it's all moving up together. And my commitment to things is way higher than what it used to be. Like I would like to say that right now, my business is in great shape. Physically, I'm in great shape. Mentally, I'm in great shape. My relationship is in great shape. And it's all because of the level of commitment that I'm bringing to the table. So when you invest in yourself, it's not so much about how is the coach going to help you, and it's pretty much comes down to how committed are you to actually create the outcome that you want through the coaching. And a lot of it comes down to me. How am I showing up to get the most out of this? Can I honestly sit down and say that I am getting and extracting the most out of this investment that I possibly can? And if the answer is no, then I might want to turn up my level of commitment. I might want to turn up my level of engagement. But I used to hound my coach. Like the first year we worked together, he used to get annoyed with me. I used to hound him. I used to text him like, hey, what do you think about this? I'd phone him, hey, have you got 5 minutes? I'd send him stuff. And it was me getting the most out of my coaching. When we came to our coaching sessions, I was like, hey coach, this is what I've been up to this week. This is what I'd like to talk about this week. Here's what's gone well. Here's what could have gone better. Here's what I want to focus on. And I was coming to him with stuff. I was like treating it like, right, I'm going to get the most out of this hour and a half call that we're going to have. And I'm going to get the most out of you between here and the next one. And it was meaning that a lot of the onus was falling onto me and how I was showing up. And the more that I show up for myself, the more I get out of the investment. So yeah, like the investments can be scary, but also if I know that I'm bringing a level of commitment to the table that's going to help me get the most value out of it, then there is no worry really, because I know that I'm going to show up in a way that's going to allow me to extract the maximum value that I can from anything that I invest in, even if it's just like a 3-day workshop or a 1-day thing, or a week-long retreat, or a 6-month group program, or invest in one-to-one for a year with a coach. I know I'm going to extract the most that I can from it, because I'm the one who determines how much value I get from it. And the final thing that I've got out of all of this, these investments, the time I've spent coaching, everything I've done in the last 3 years, is that ultimately I've just become more me. Working with my coaches, working with people who really align with my values, and knowing the right coach to work with has helped me to just uncover more of me and bring more of my authenticity to the table, and more of my shine, like uncover my gold and bring it out into the world. And the more that I do that, the more that my being expands in an authentic way, the more it impacts others, the more I'm able to lift other people up around me. Mick, who's my producer, who produces this podcast for me, he's been a friend of mine for years. And the second I started doing well in my business, I was like, Mick, I want to hire you. I want you to help me with my podcast and making content, because he's great at it, as you guys can see. There's other people who are around me that I'm helping lift them up as well, because I'm expanding so much. I want to share it with other people. And what I'm really finding is, like, the more compassionate and the more loving and the more forgiving I am of myself, the more loving and compassionate and forgiving I can be of other people. And those things become a superpower. Anyone who's been following this podcast for a while, even over the last year, you've probably noticed quite a shift in me. If you go back and watch some of my earlier episodes or videos from like last year, you'll probably see there's been quite a big difference in the way that I'm showing up, because I'm just becoming more me. The topics that I talk about, the way that I do things, the way that I speak, the way that I share things, the analogies that I use, the type of guests that I have on the podcast, it's all coming from a place of authenticity. It's all coming from a place of me, like the things that I'm interested in, the things that I want to share, the things that I want to talk about. Before, investing all of this time and money and energy into self-development, I was hiding myself away, and in some areas I still am, but I was doing it in a much bigger way back then. I was hiding myself in such a big way that I was just almost like showing up in the world in a way that I thought other people wanted me to show up, rather than showing up in the world in a way that was authentic to me. And the more that I've shown up in the world as the most authentic version of myself, the more like there's like an attraction of things coming to me, right? And it's amazing how it works, because it's all just coming from a place of love and authenticity. And I think, if anything, like, these investments in myself have helped me to just really deeply connect to the authenticity and the uniqueness and the gold that's in me. And that's something that you can't put a cost on, you can't put a value on it, because it's invaluable. It's something that you can't replicate. It's something that it's deep work that uncovers it. And being able to go through those journeys and to have these experiences and to have these shifts in my life, they've been so invaluable. And this is why I was saying, like, I'll never not have a coach, because I know there's still more to uncover. I know there's still more expanding I can be. And the more that I expand, the more I'm able to then lift other people up. Like, even just looking at my business, I started off doing one-to-one, then I started doing group coaching. Now I do retreats, and then I do 3-day like coaching intensives in person. Like, all of these things are coming from an expansion of me, but they're allowing other people to go on these journeys for themselves, which is then having a knock-on effect to the people that they have in their lives. And when they affect the people in their lives, they go on and affect the people in their lives, and then they go on and affect the people. And it goes way beyond me. And I want to be a catalyst for change, not just in my life, but in everyone's life around me. And one of the best ways that I can do that is to keep digging into and uncovering my authenticity, my best self, my highest version, my gold, and the love and the power that is within me. So these have just been a real few things that have been so invaluable for me, and have made these investments into my own growth and my self-development worth it. I've spent £50,000 on self-development. Has it been worth it? Absolutely yes. And I hope this video has given you a real indication as to the value that I've got out of coaching and self-development, and really putting a focus on me, and that you take something away from it for yourself, and it opens up some doors for you in your own life. And if you've liked this video, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and come follow me on Instagram and TikTok at I am Alex Manzi. And come and hit me with your learnings. What have you learned from this episode? What have you heard in this for yourself? I'd love to hear. Either leave a comment in the video or come and DM me on Instagram. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you for the next episode.